The news coming out of Salesforce is genuinely heartbreaking. I worked there for over 10 years. I have a lot of fond memories from that time, and I made lots of really good friends. And actually, I found out this morning that a few of those friends have sadly been let go. And my heart goes out to them and to anybody else that's being affected right now. It actually happened to me back in around 2000 when the dot-com bubble burst. Some of you may be old enough to remember that. And honestly, it's just really hard to explain, like that mix of trauma, insecurity, anxiety, and fear that you feel when this sort of thing happens. There are murmurings that this is just the first phase, and that there's more to come. I really hope not. It could well be the case. For example, French and German employment law is very different to, for example, American employment law. So it can take longer for these things to happen here in Europe. But I do hope it just ends here. Now, we're all talking about this in terms of Salesforce, but it actually affects the whole of HANA. If you're in a partner company like ours, for example, here at RocketPhone, you might be asking yourself, if there's a winding down of the business at Salesforce, then does that mean, fewer App Exchange sales, fewer projects to work on, fewer admin or developer roles to chase after, and so on? And, it's going to be raising anxiety levels across the entire HANA. But actually, like from a personal point of view, I don't think the tangible impact will be that wide. And there's a reason why I say that, and that is that, there are some really strong positives that we should be thinking about. We should remember that Salesforce still has 150,000 customers around the world, that the company owns nearly a quarter of the entire CRM market and has tens of billions in annual revenues. And those revenues are largely secured through long-term contracts and of course, the sheer sort of stickiness, if you like, of the Salesforce platform. And this is a huge amount of inertia, and you can't stop that kind of inertia overnight. And in my view, the ecosystem should be able to hire the 8,000 or so professionals that are coming out of Salesforce right now. So I said this happened to me back in 2000, so I just wanted to share some lessons from that, but also lessons from being in senior management for the past decade, where sometimes we had to make sorts of decisions ourselves around laying off and letting people go. Everyone's experience is going to be entirely personal, but if this can help a few folks, then I guess it's worth sharing. So my first point is that, and the first thing I want to say is that nobody should beat themselves up for being the ones that got laid off. From personal experience, the criteria around who gets laid off is mostly unscientific, mostly subjective. Okay, sometimes it's simply last in, first out. Other times it's let's just get rid of the non-quota carriers because they don't impact the revenue or the bottom line as much as the quota carriers. So the rationale is generally it's all over the place, with these things, and it all happens very quickly. Managers are asked to be fair, but they're also asked to make decisions very, very fast. And the objective, being just to cut cost as quickly as possible, and that's it. So don't blame yourself for this. It's not your fault, and actually, this is an issue with your employer who is suffering temporary financial challenges. And definitely do not let it affect your confidence. My second point is that, make sure that you update your resume and your social profiles as soon as possible. Many will say to you, take a deep breath, smell the flowers, give yourself some time to adjust to the situation. In my view, a few days is fine, but don't spend more than a week doing this. Okay, you weren't supposed to be on holiday right now, so don't get into that mental state. The days will become weeks, which will become months, and you will risk sliding into becoming long-term unemployed. You do not want to be there, okay? You're running on adrenaline right now, lots of adrenaline pumping through your system. It's not often you feel motivation this strong, so use that adrenaline to your advantage. There are roles out there, tons of them. Just go out, get them right now, okay? My third point is don't harbor ill feelings towards Salesforce or whoever it was that laid you off. It's going to show in your daily interactions, including in job interviews. We live in a cyclical economic system. Salesforce looked after you, they looked after me when times were good, but none of us can really, see the future, and Salesforce just didn't see this downturn coming. So we have to remain optimistic. And, one way you can do that is just remind yourself every single day, why did Salesforce hire you in the first place? They could have hired a ton of other people, but they chose to hire you, on that day when you were being interviewed by them. And there's a lot behind that. My fourth point is, remain practical, right? Look at your household expenses, cut things out that you don't need. Are there extra subscriptions that you don't need? Cut them out. Okay, it's a personal fiscal discipline. It's never a bad thing. So it's a good opportunity to look at the things you spend your money on and just optimize it. Clear things out, and it'll put you in a really good frame of mind once you've done that. It'll give you some clarity, and you'll feel better for it. My fifth and final point is network like hell. Okay, be super visible on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to spam your CV to hiring managers up and down the country. We're expecting it. Okay, I don't need to teach you how to get a job. You know how to do that already, but do adopt good practice and maintain it. Make the covering letters to your resume relevant to the hiring managers that you're targeting. Okay, send out your comms at midday to increase your chances of being heard, and just keep following up. Hiring managers like me, we hate recruitment with a passion. So it's always nice when a great candidate comes and finds us, and we welcome that with open arms. Crucially, don't restrict your networking to professional circles only. Okay, you need to build or maintain a really good support system. It's good to have people you can speak to. It's going to help with your personal and emotional well-being, and that is way more important than way more important than you may think it is right now. So just to end, it's a difficult time for a lot of people right now. If I or anybody else at RocketPhone or my wider network can help you, then just don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, and so take care, everybody, and I hope to speak to you again under better circumstances. Thank you.